How's it going, guys? This is going to be a weekly outlook of the markets and where I feel things are going. So, to start off, we're going to kick things off on the monthly chart. I don't spend too much time here, but I figure it's important to understand what's going on. So, we're going to start off with the dollar index. Not that. We're going to get rid of everything. Okay. So, what we're seeing here on the dollar index is on the monthly, we have this, bigger downtrend, right? And there's this huge area of monthly supply that price has came into and gotten a good rejection. And this is to be expected, especially after this long rally on the dollar index. And it simply must pull back some areas that it can pull back to, or this the accumulation at old highs, likely come back here, test this if it gets there, and then continue upward would be my guess. But we'll see. If it breaks that, we could come down here and ultimately make new lows. It's a clean possibility. One thing we might want to throw on here is a EMA, is the 200 moving average. But this is on the monthly. That's going to be huge. That'll be better on the weekly. With that, now that we know that there's a macro area, let's jump to the weekly. What's the daily? Yeah, the daily. You can see it's well above this daily moving average. I don't typically like moving averages, but you can see through a lot of the other trends that it didn't. So this was after the start of the dot-com bubble, and you can see it came, it touched this, and every time it touched this, maybe it went below it, it bounced off, and we had a good move away. So it's just another confluence, and we're still well above it. It could come down below it, but I feel like that would line up with that monthly area, of reaccumulation. And why I like to focus on the dollar is because it really leads everything else. So we'll mark that up, go down the daily. You can see this reaccumulation with a lot of areas in here that are unmitigated. There's this reaccumulation, it's touching right now. So I would say that it is still within this daily range here, right here to here. But we'll see on the 4-hourly. It's not doing very much. We got a little mini rally. I would assume in this area we'd be looking for some kind of Wyckoff accumulation to form before it takes it upwards. So I would say range bound, if not a little lower, before getting a reversal. Now let's move on to yields. Yields have a similar story. The 2-year yields coming into this major supply area. I like to look at the 2-year and the 10-year yield because they represent the outlooks, inflation expectations. The dollar, 2-year specifically, is Fed rate hike expectations. So if this sells off abruptly, then we could assume that the market expects the Fed to cut rates. But if this breaks through, we would expect that the market expects that rates are going to go much higher. So we're coming into this general area of supply. We're getting a nice wick rejection here. Does that mean much? I'm not sure, but it just means that this area is going to give us some resistance trouble, and it's accumulating right under that level. Typically more of a bullish thing. We did not break these levels yet, so this was the last daily range here to here, and it's holding it so far. And it could pull back deeper down to here, but if it doesn't start breaking some of these levels, then it's just going to blast through this area and yields are going to go much, much higher, and that will probably bring the dollar up. So US 10-year yield, this again coming into this big monthly resistance area right in here with this green line. So with all of these three things combined, it's pretty safe to assume that the dollar was going to get some resistance around here, and maybe facing a bit more resistance, or at least a range bound. So I don't expect too big moves out of the dollar right now until we get that reversal signal or that in the yields. To confirm the dollar, we're going to go up here to gold and see what gold is doing. So this is the gold monthly chart. So you can see this nice downtrend. There was this monthly demand that price came into. It took all this liquidity, tapped into it. Now it's moving up aggressively. Let's look at the 1 weekly. So on the weekly is very nice. It shows that there's this, downtrend since March, and you can see the major swings here. So this last swing, it's testing this area, this major supply area that sponsored the last weekly lower low. So this could be, if we get a distribution up here, this could be a major reversal area and head lower, or it could be an area, if we break this, it could be a much longer reversal up. So with that, let's move on to some pairs. So here are some pairs that I personally liked or saw some decent opportunity on. So first off is GJ. So it's in this rather bullish trend. We got the spike down, taking out all of this liquidity, and this higher push to the upside. With that, we have left open this point of interest with some imbalance that we're coming into now. Price is a bit slowing down. We're starting to see some wicks on the daily, and everything up here, most of it's been mitigated. Dropping down to the 4 hour, you can see this candle right here. Everything's been rather clean in here, and looking a bit slow, right? You have this big fast push up for the most part, which is, which was 6% up in 29 bars, then to come the same distance down, it's taken about 60 bars, and we're not even there yet. So about twice as long, giving me the feel that this may reverse off this area and head higher in this bullish trend. So when it comes into this level here, we're going to want to see some type of sign of accumulation. And another thing you could have done is maybe taken some kind of trade up here with the expectation it'll come down here, something in here. It never really played out for me today, but we'll see. Next up is USD CAD. Yeah, so this drawing's accurate with the white. So there was, let's get rid of all of this. So on the weekly, forgive me for the dirty charts, I gotta clean them up. So on the weekly, we touched this point of interest, which was the 2020 high from this big push down. Came into this unmitigated weekly and rejected as expected. Now it's coming back. It left a lot of imbalance. It's coming back down here to fill that imbalance. And put that down there. So this is that weekly point of interest. So on the daily, you have this area which is unmitigated, at least at the 50%, and most of it, and it lines up with that weekly level. Price has begun to slow down. We have these big fast moves, lots of imbalance, so price will likely have to come back up here and mitigate this. And then as you see it approaching this zone, you see the candle bodies start to slow down, the wicks, it's starting to see some resistance, it's moving slowly. Here it's moving fast, very quickly. So it's starting to slow down. Might see some accumulation at this level or just before it. Taps in reverse would be my guess. But if this breaks, it could go down lower and mitigate some of these levels before going higher. But ultimately, it's likely higher. We have some fundamental reasons for this. Well, first of all, the United States, as for now, has been hiking rates more aggressively as USD CAD. The Canadians have been doing less strong hikes, so lower basis points hikes. I think the last one they did was 50, and the Federal Reserve did 75, so there's a little bit of interest rate differential going on here, but we'll see. That's not the end all be all of trading. It made some liquidity, broke it. Now it's forming some kind of trend line thing in here, relative equal highs here, relative equal highs here, some trend line looking thing in here. So it very well could come back up here and make new higher highs. So keep a watch out, see what happens down there. Euro USD. Alright, so Euro USD, again, sorry for the messy charts. So what we got here on the weekly, actually the monthly is what I wanted to look at with Euro USD. So the monthly, right, everyone thinks, oh, this is a huge rally, blah de blah, look at the power in this thing, straight vertical up. Yeah, this could be the bottom, but from what I'm seeing personally, it's coming into this area of monthly supply here. Oh god. No, this. So, this monthly area of supply could cause at least a significant monthly push down before the reversal, or just the complete reversal. And I believe it tapped into the beginning of this accumulation. So as we would expect, this is a monthly accumulation for a major low. We could expect a decent amount of demand to come in here. So we're looking to see what happens at this monthly area. On the weekly, what lines up with this? Well, we have this base here before this move down, rather unmitigated, some solid imbalance. Price is coming back into. It did break this weekly supply, but it still could react up here. Could just be taking, because this looks like a weekly trend line liquidity. Could just be taking that, manipulating, as it's done many times before in other cycles like this. Came down. This is on the weekly, broke this, came up to these more major levels and still sold off. So could be what we're seeing here, or it could be the full reversal, to be determined. So then on the daily, we have this unmitigated area up here that we're starting to come into. It's got to get a bit higher, maybe this 1.04160 level, something up in here. 4 hourly, still extremely bullish, not much to see here. We're going to wait and look for some kind of accumulation or distribution, or reaccumulation or distribution up in this zone. So that's that. New Zealand dollar, again, it's coming into this daily area, sponsoring the lower low. but it does have more room to come up on the weekly. So it's a bit mixed. That's why it's lower down on my list here. This area again is the monthly resistance. So that being said, what we're seeing is a lot of these risk on pairs like NZD and Euro coming into this monthly resistance, whereas the USD is coming into this monthly demand, and even on the DXY it's coming into this monthly demand. So that could be a good recipe for a nice reversal, especially after such a strong sell-off in the dollar in the strong bullish trend. Could easily reverse. And, so maybe Euro Yen. So we're seeing here some type of topping accumulation distribution pattern. My bad. Made this lower low, retested it, and another lower low, so we got a trend forming here. Let's just look at the weekly first. So the weekly, definite uptrend, but it can come down into these levels here for a deeper retracement. I think that's what we're looking for. Some imbalance down here. So something comes down to here. And what we're looking for is this area, right? Took some liquidity, big impulsive move down. I expected it to bounce off this level, and it did, and possibly come down. There's some liquidity here. I thought it might take this and then bounce up, but it might just bounce up. So see what happens first. It may come down, then go up, or it could just melt off. But I'm thinking if it gets back up to here, this would be a good area to get in some shorts and ride it to the downside. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at for this week. Those are my cleanest setups, and it just appears that this risk on phase is in the market right now, and it may be coming to an end, or at least a decent pullback, because it's moved very far very fast, as you can see by the Euro and some others. In addition to that, maybe some other leading factors are crypto, like Bitcoin. It's kind of a super risk on asset, and while other things moved higher, Bitcoin actually moved lower last week. Whereas if you look at something like the SPX, we had this huge move up, and it's just a bit of a mess right now. So stick to what's clean, stick to what you know, and be playing these areas that come up that give you good opportunity and are clean. Play them and move on. Get your percentage out, lock in some profits, and move on. That's all you can do in these markets, these choppy, confusing markets. So with that, I'm going to leave you with the weekly update. I hope that helped. If you guys have any questions, anything you want answered, anything you guys want me to do, any suggestions, feel free to drop them in the comments.